Hi, this is Low Trade, better known as Chuck. Beautiful day in Philly here. I'm trying to figure out a way to not go out and cut the grass. Um, Saturday, I did some homework and put together a list for next week. And then today, I did all my charts and found my targets and did all my planning and placed all my standing orders and so forth. And I was reevaluating everything, looking over everything, and I thought, what the heck? I'll kill the afternoon instead of cutting the grass, and let you guys spend an afternoon with me. And this is going to be very informal. Everything that pops into my head, I'm going to discuss. I expect 90% of it will probably be technical and charting and gaps and all kinds of change. I don't know what that is. And things. So let's get started. Whatever flies into my head, I'm going to talk about. And this might end up being long, or I might cut it short. I'm not sure. We're going to start with the first stock that I got on my list. This one is considered, you can already enter it. So I found it late. This is an ascending triangle here, and you got the trend is going to break out. Now, if you want to calculate the target for this, you take the breakout price from the top of the run, okay, and that's $3 minus $1.30. $3 minus $1.30. And that equals a 70-cent gain. So what you do with the ascending triangles is you figure that if you're going to, what is this? Change. Maybe that'll stop it. You figure once it breaks out that it's going to go for that 70 cents. So you add the 70 cents to break out, and that's your target. Well, it just so happens this was a 25% target. So right now, if I enter tomorrow, say at 3:40 or at the open, which is where my I have a market order at open tomorrow, so wherever it opens is where I'm going in. Okay, what else are we going to look at here? This is a little strange. Everything's been very little volume, very little price change. Odds are before this big happening here, the stock wasn't very interesting. So let's go and see what that's all about. So we'll copy that. We'll go to FinViz. Oh, I already got it there, so I must have thought of this before. There we go. Wow. This thing had hardly any volume at all and was doing very well and fell to hell. Don't. Ownership. Insiders are buying. That's always good news. Absolutely maxed out at institutional. That's good news. Very little selling, but yet, well, this report here is usually every 15 days, and it's been more than 15 days. I'm wondering why the hell. Oh, I remember this one. This is the one. Okay, I can tell you, I don't have no idea why this fell so far, but yet major institutional holders aren't dumping out. For some reason, somebody knows something about this stock. Okay, I remember this one. This one, let's go back to where we were. This one had this big breakout back here because it released its earnings and had a good earnings in June, end of June. Had good earnings. It's selling off a bunch of stores in England and raised cash, and it put a public offering out and raised cash. So this huge fall, okay, was just corrected right here. All their problems was solved. All their financial problems and everything else were solved right here. So that's why we got this. So now what's happening is retail and everybody that's involved in this damn thing is trying to figure out where we're going to take it to next. And it seems like an ascending triangle is formed, and that's going to be with everything, with all the news, the large institutional, the insider buying, and all the changes in the company. I'd say this is a turnaround right now. You're involved in a turnaround, and odds are, between the charts and the other information, there's a very good chance that this thing's going to hit target. What else can I look at this? These things are a little strange. I don't know whether there was any news here causing that, but that's no major big thing to talk about. Gaps. Okay, we got a large gap here. I talk about 90% of gaps fill. Okay, I got a large gap here, and it filled. Here's some gaps, some small gaps. They eventually filled. Here's a large gap, and that one walked down and filled. So as you can see, this does pretty well at taking care of gaps. Okay, I can't think much more about this one. Let's go see what the next one looks like. Okay. We got the same situation here. We have some dead spot, and then it just took off. So let's go see what that one looks like. What's going on before all this excitement? So here's our dead period in our map. It just looks like it's bottomed. Looks like it was doing fairly well back in 2013, and it started falling apart and it bottomed. So it's no major thing. It's having a slight comeback. Ownership, not very much big guys involved in this, institutional. Here's something interesting. I say that if the shorts hold more than 10% of the outstanding shares, that's a very large short interest, and any run could be fought by the shorts. So there's a possibility that this play is going to end up having some shorts trying to fight this thing. Okay, let's go back. So this basically is nothing, but there is a little bit of concern now in the back of my head about this thing because of the short interest. Now, gaps. There aren't very many gaps. Here's one gap that filled. There's a gap in the beginning of a run, and it was left behind. There's a gap in the beginning of a new run, and it was left behind. Here's a gap in the beginning of a new run. That might be left behind. Here's a gap down, and that one filled. So it's doing okay for gaps. Okay, here we are. We got a pennant here. With a pennant, you take the start of the run to the top of the run, and you add it on to the breakout of the run. So we're doing 120. And it started at 65, so we have a 50. We can expect a 55% gain. So she's breaking out at the point right about $1.05. So $1.05 plus 55. That's how I get my target. The target is actually 50%. That is scary for not being an OTC stock. I personally didn't. I went for 30% on this one with my target. I'm not greedy. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to mention is I swing trade on 2-week cycles. I've mentioned many times before that when you look at chart patterns, normally for the length that it takes for the pattern to form, Normally you'll reach target in half of that. So this thing took a month to form this pattern before it broke out. So it should squeeze in within my 2-week cycle. I would expect that we're going to get close to that target somewhere between now and the next 2 weeks. So my 2-week swing should work good on this. That's another thing. I called that out. It took a month to form. It can take a month to reach target. Normally it's half the length, but many times you have to hold it for the whole length of the formation. Not really much more. Oh, I don't enter until resistance is breaking, top resistance. Anytime you have a pattern that's got a downslope to it, a higher risk person or someone who, a higher risk person can enter at the trend line break. There's no problem with that. I have no problem with doing it. It's just I personally am a low risk, cheap person, and I want to be sure. And I'm sure once the top resistance is broken, or should I say more comfortable, should I say. Okay, I don't have much more to say about that one. Let's go here. Okay, this one is interesting. I've done a video, and I think lots of people have watched that video about single bottom bounces, and this is a perfect example of a single bottom bounce. As you can see, you have your retrace, okay, and I always say that never enter, even though if it turns and all your TA indicators look good and everything else, never enter until you reach or break until you break your first resistance. So this is your first resistance line. And you can see it started coming up. The TA, the 5 cross the 10 right about here. The 10 cross the 20 right about here. So from here on, you have a confirmed entry with your entry exit indicators. So one could have entered on this pop right here with fairly good confidence because the TA gave you an entry signal, a confirmed entry signal. At any rate, she kept going, and it based. Okay, so we came up, we hit our first resistance, didn't break it, and it based. So I actually could draw another circle here saying there was a basing at resistance level. That's another thing I mentioned. Once you break out, you buy. You go up to the next resistance level, and you sell. Now you put the stock on watch. And there's usually a basing at that resistance level. Well, there was a basing at this resistance level also. And there's a basing in this resistance level. So I say buy it when you break, sell when you reach, buy it when you break, sell when you reach. And there's a basing. So this stock right now is in the process of going for the next resistance level, and it always pops a little bit above. So I would put a target on this of 210. I would expect that it should reach 210. So if I was an average or a higher risk trader, I'd put a buy at open tomorrow on this thing, and I'd put as soon as I got a piece of it, I'd put a sell right here at 210. Seeing as I'm looking for a 10% gain, I put a 5% trailing stop on it. My trade would be in complete. I do not plan on trading this one. Others may have interest in it, but I don't. So that's about that on that one. LRAD. LRAD I just got finished with. I put it back after I took my profits. I think it was 5%. I put it back on watch again. This pink area is my trade. Right in here. Okay. I found it back here, and I was going by this, and I ended up entering this one. I entered it, what the heck, 345 I entered out when top resistance broke, and my target was 160, and I sold at 160, which was my target, and I made 5%. Now I put it back on stopwatch, on strong watch, and right here, where I sold, and it's now retracing. Okay, now, this blue thing, okay, is a comfort to me because the target was never reached on the first breakout. Okay. But there's still that mindset, that psychology behind the retail that's involved in this whole damn thing, coming from nil to all kinds of excitement, that this thing is coming up in a channel now. So I drew the channel so you can see what's occurring. Instead of it running straight up, I love it. It's taking its nice little calm time. I like calm. I hate emotion. So I really like this stock, and I'll probably be following this stock for quite some time. At any rate, where I'm at right now is we have no bottom yet, but I'm watching this for a bottom. Looking at the gaps, there's a gap from here to here. Okay, so that gap should fill. It's coming down to start to fill the thing, but it hasn't reached 330 yet. So I expect Monday, we're going to get a little bit of a continuation retrace here to at least fill that 330 gap, and maybe with a little luck, it'll pop in the afternoon or pop tomorrow, or maybe it'll all happen, at one time. I'm not sure. But at any rate, I got to buy in at 355 at top resistance when it broke, and my sell is at 370, and I'll pick up another 5% plus or minus on this. Another thing I like about this is the volume from here to here on the trade that I made. There's emotion in this. Okay, there are some gaps in here, but the volume is showing that all this volume and emotion back here is still very strong in the backs of the investors' minds in this, or the traders' minds in this. And the fact that the down sentiment in this thing has volumes that are very low. The volumes are more than half of what they were before, of the up days. Now, I have a saying about that if you find the volume halved from the day before, there is no support for that. If you find the volume, if you find the volume doubled the day before, there is strong support for that. So when this thing doubled here, I would feel much more comfortable and confident that thing was going to continue because this price doubled, and obviously it did. In the same respect, when this went from here to here, I would feel much more comfortable that this thing is not going to continue down because less volume interest is involved in taking it down. Okay? So there's a mind game right here that sticks in the back of my head that says this is very weak support for a retrace compared to the support for an increase. So bang, there's more comfort in the fact that this thing is going to break out and continue up. What else? Where could I go for this? Oh, here we go. I put a tip up here. Flags normally come in threes. This is another thing that I post about a lot. Usually if you see one flag, you'll see a second. And if you do see the second, you're almost guaranteed you'll see the third. Okay, so we're working on the third flag. So flags, I would expect if this works and after this, I would expect that there's going to be a new pattern formation here, and it's not going to be a flag formation. I don't know. It might give you a double top, might give you, which is a negative pattern, might give you an ascending triangle. I don't know, but I don't really look forward to having more flags to break out of this channel. Oh, channels. I expect after this last third flag that another pattern is going to form up here. Whatever pattern that is, I'll be watching for the trade. Channels. There's another thing I teach about channels. Channels normally last 3 to 5 touches. Okay? Very rarely do you find a channel that'll last more than 5 touches, meaning that there's going to be a breakout on the 5th channel bounce. So far, we've had 1, 2, 3 top channel touches and 1, 2, 3 top bottom channels. Okay. Also, I say when you're trading channels, the safest channel bounce to trade is the 3rd bounce. If you get a 3rd bounce in the channel, odds are you're going to get a 4th and a 5th. Okay? So that gives you a little bit, mentally, a little bit more support with my experience that this is the 3rd bounce. Bang, I'm going to get the 4th top. Okay. I think that's enough on that one. PLNR. PLNR. We got our 2 flags. We were talking about flags. 1, and we're working on our 2nd one. Nothing really super interesting about this one, other than the fact this is, again, a major turnaround. It would be nice to see, seeing as I'm an old man and I have a very bad memory, and I did evaluate all this shit before before I put it on the list, but I don't recall what background or psychology I saw in this stock to make me like it or can make me feel comfortable playing it. Okay. Ownership, it's a mediocre big guys. Oh, we got a good short interest here. 20% short interest. Ooh, I may be jumping on this one. I don't remember seeing that before. But this is very good too. Bang, let's go back. Okay, let's go back and look at this in a little closer. During the retrace, okay, she comes up, a nice stall day, a breather day. I love that. A breather day. I love that. Okay, she gapped open with the black candle. I don't like that. Gapping open at the top of a run and telling you something might happen, and guess what? Something happened. Now, in the same respect, the gapping open at the run I didn't like, from gapping from here up to here and finishing down here. I don't like that. That's an indication to me that there may be a reversal or a stall coming. In the same respect, this candle here, okay, is telling me that there's no, this is telling me positive. The opposite of gapping up is retracing and having a long candle tail on the bottom. What it's saying is that retail got excited because this huge run, okay, is finally going to come to an end, and they got excited and they started jumping out, and they jumped out so damn strong it was ridiculous. But that emotion was overcome during the day to drive it all the way back up. So sentiment in this retrace, okay, is positive. It's positive because emotion failed, and I liked this, came back, okay. So even though there's a strong short interest in this thing, 20% is a scary short interest. If I saw 20%, normally I'd run. But there are things I do like about this, so what the hell? We might as well just watch it and see what happens. But, Mark, back of your mind, remember, there's a long short interest in this. A lot of this down here may have been short covering. Okay? So, I don't know. We had a good volume day, a good, strong, negative volume day, which should mean negativeness about this retrace continuing. Okay? But this may have just been a short cover. So, I'm a little yes and no on this one. Let's put it this way. I'm going to watch this, but my comfort zone is not way up there in the 80 percentile bracket that this thing is going to break out and continue. I'll probably go back on this later after the video and do a short study on this and see what the heck's been happening. What the heck is the, today's the, okay, short interest reports come out on the 15th and the 1st. So the last report on this, let's do it. What the heck? I normally do it, so you might as well see what I normally do. Go to my stocks, where I got all my stocks. Go down to my link for one of my, where my short interest is at. Okay. We're going to look for a PLNC. PLNR, I'm sorry. Okay, let's see what's been happening with the short interest the past period of time. Whoa. Are we looking at the same stock? Okay, never mind. The short float was 9, and I thought it was 19%. I looked at it wrong. Short float is 1%. Never mind all that concern that I had. All that concern I had about a short fight on this thing. Forget it. I made a mistake. Short interest is not 19%. That's the shares, 19 million shares. So I made a mistake. Welcome to my mind. Okay, let's go on and see what else we got. Okay, so up here, this one you can go in. It's already broke out. This one you can go in. It's already broke out. Those two I am going in. This one you can go in. It's already broke out, but it's almost to the top. This one I'm not going in. These two are strong watches. If this one breaks out, I'm in it. If this one breaks out, I'm in it. These three down here, okay, are going to take a little more time. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is I trade on 2-week cycles, and there's a strong possibility that the ones above, okay, it's a strong possibility that the ones above may hit target fairly quickly, say in the first week. That means my second week, I'm going to need 3 more stocks. I plan on trading 3 stocks this cycle. I'm going to need 3 more stocks. So I got a possibility right away that I might have to pick up a 4th stock here, or a 4th and 5th stock here or here, because I always have cash in reserve. Top 3, I'm going to take my 60% that I swing trade on 2-week cycle. I'm going to put it into the top 3. I'm only holding two. This one I'm not going in. I'm only holding 2, so I will have cash to go into this one. And if this one breaks out, I'll have to hit my reserve cash to get into that one. Now, all 3 of those are fairly quick moving. And there's a possibility that they will close in the first week or somewhere, or I'll have most of my trades closed before my 2-week cycle ends. So these guys are my safety valves. What am I going to do if I close some trades real quick? This is all involved in planning the 2-week trade cycle. I plan everything. Okay. This one is an island reversal. And Island reversals, I've mentioned many times that on average, they'll last 3 to 6 months, because what happens is a company is going along and everything's going fine, and all of a sudden some disaster happens to it. And that's what causes this thing, everyone to just bail on this damn company, okay? Huge bad news causes huge jumping out and huge volume spikes, okay? Now, it takes a long time for a big board, nice company that just had a major failure to turn around the trader's psychology and have positive sentiment again. Okay? So that's why when you see an island reversal, they usually bottom channel for a long period of time. On average, it's 3 to 6 months. This one has been channeling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and it's challenged and channeled down, and challenged and channeled down, and it's challenged again. Now, this is the first time it's actually gotten out of and into the gap area. Bang, this is a positive. Now, I preach that don't expect this thing to run through the gap channel and fill the gap unless you have the same volume emotion seen at the breakout as you do as the fall. I say, don't add up these. It's got to be a single emotion spike. So this one right now is bordering. You can see that in this climb, you can see the volumes are lower here and are gradually getting a little better. There's more and more retail volume interest and more confidence in the sentiment this trip up that it actually got above. So I'm thinking that if some bit of news occurs with this stock, we will see this volume spike. We will see a $5-6 million volume spike, and that'll be enough to keep this thing into the gap area and keep it going up. Now, I don't expect that to happen tomorrow. I don't expect it to happen in the next 3 days. It might, but it might not. I do expect either this thing to come back down into the channel, I can take it off a watch, or that emotion to be backed up with some kind of news within a week. So this thing is within a week. I expect I'm either going to take this off because it ain't going to last up there above top resistance for a week unless something happens. So within 1 week, it's either something's going to happen and it's going to continue, or nothing's going to happen and it's going to walk back down. So that gives me a week. So if any of my above ones close, I have something to look for next week. Next one. Okay, this one's a V bottom. My mind is kind of screwed up. See all this shit? This one's a V bottom. We have a nice strong walk down. Now I've posted about V bottoms before. V bottoms can be continuations where there's an uptrend and a V bottom and a continuation, or a reversal, which is a downtrend and a V bottom and a reversal. Okay. This one's a or a reversal pattern with a V bottom. So let's look at the chart first. To determine targets, what you do is you go from top line to bottom line and you add it to breakout. So there's your target. Now in this one, I drew this flag in just to show you a little added comfort in the fact that this thing will probably continue. This flag is calling for a target of about 155, 158 or something like that. And this is very nice because there's something, news happened or something here. Now with a V bottom again, you're looking for negative, bad news. Something really brought this thing down steep and fast, and you're looking for the same emotion coming out, and you're getting the good emotion. You're getting higher candle spikes and higher volumes involved. So the sentiment has changed completely. Once you reach this breakout line, that's the confirmation that the company has reassured retail that whatever problems caused them to be scared, not to be scared anymore. Now, when you get in these V-bottom emotion things, there's always overrun and there's always washback. Okay, seeing as this just broke and this flag target is right up above where we're at now, I'm fairly confident that this thing is going to continue, especially with the volume support for this candle. So between those two things, I am very confident that this thing is going to go up. Might go even go up to 160. I don't know where it's going to go, but this thing's going to go up, and then eventually the emotion will calm down a little bit, and it'll retrace and wash back, and then that's when I want to watch it. Now I'm hoping that all next week this will take place. It'll go up a day or two, and then it'll stall and it'll come back down, and then the second week is where it'll have the opportunity of breaking out again. So this is another one. This hopefully I might be able to move into in the second week of a 2-week trade cycle. What else? Is there something else I could talk about? Yeah, it wouldn't hurt us to take a look at what the heck. I don't remember my initial background evaluation on this, so I guess it wouldn't hurt to take a look at what was going on that caused the V bottom and caused the comeback. Okay. Oh, this is nice too. This is another thing to give me comfort in this play. A long down channel breakout. Now, there's another thing that I talk about a lot. Wedges and channels, if they break out on emotion and go fast, a lot of the times they'll come back. If they walk out, like they did here, if it walked out, something happened here. Normally, if they walk out, okay, they'll continue up. This one walked out and dove. So right around here, July, late July, something happened here, okay, because this should have broken out here. Just like this walkout allowed it to break out here. So this is good because it walked out and broke out. That's good, but this is bad. It walked out and broke down. So right around here is right, yep. Let's go down and see what happened the end of July. July 28th. Structured cabling solutions in India. I don't see any bad news. I don't see any bad news at all. This is very strange. Okay, August 13th, financial reports for the second quarter. August 14th. So now we know, I have no idea why this thing fell, okay? There's no indication why retail sentiment completely changed and everybody lost faith in this stock. I mean, it wasn't that bad overall. I mean, you know, you had a $1.90 to $1.30 channel until this point. It wasn't that bad, but I have no idea why that fell. Okay, I'm wasting enough time on that. At any rate, a long-term channel walkout and breakout is a good sign. Okay, We're doing the same. You got the same thing. You're going to be stepping out. Your single bottom bounces. You got right here is where you're going to be breaking. The next target will be right there at 170, about 170. What was our chart pattern? 170 is right here. Okay. And the next one and the next one. Oh, there's your 220 would be your top. So if you traded this like a single bottom bounce, okay, and you traded the resistance levels up, there's your first one, your second one, your third one, fourth, fifth one. The top one is around 210, I call it 210. And our target for the V bottom is around $2. So the long-term sentiment and reversal, okay, and the shorter term V bottom chart are both looking for a complete comeback for this stock, coming up to around the $2 level. Coming up to around the $2 level. Well, here's the $2 level here. Oh, that's better. That makes more sense. This is just a spike. The top of this probably would be $2, and that looks like we're going to recover from this whole damn thing. So that's good. That's nice. But I have no idea what caused this. What caused it to come back? Good financials. August 15th, 14th, 13th. Reports financials. Convertible loan. They picked up a loan. Communications Network in Moscow. They picked up a job. That's bullshit or fluff. That's fluff. Oh no, India. They launched a new cable solution. So they picked up 2 new jobs. They got funding and they had a good quarter. Guess what? I feel good. I think this sucker is going to go somewhere. Okay, on to our last one. This one I had on watch on my last 2-week cycle and nothing happened to it. Here's the chart. My last 2-week cycle, I had this thing on watch, hoping that it would continue this this trajectory. Because it broke out, okay, and when I caught it was a very strong day. It was up to $3. One could have entered this stock, but I didn't like the red days volume and the comeback days volume not increasing. So I didn't, because of these 2 days, okay, this is the emotion day. This is the reality sets in with a big board trader saying take profits, okay? And this is the big board trader reality that, okay, I took profits, but whatever caused this thing to come back is well worth investing in, okay? But it wasn't stronger. It was equal. So I just didn't have the confidence because of this yes and no shit here. Sorry for that. To actually enter above $3. Okay, so I put an open standing order at 310. Well, as you can see, it went up to 305, but never made it to 310, and I never closed. Looking at this right now, anytime you have an emotion flag or spike like that, and it doesn't automatically start retracing, it's positive. Okay. Sentiment is short term. Psychology is long term. If we took a look at the TA indicators on this, you'd probably see the psychology in this. The psychology is in longer term, more and more Nobody's involved here. More and more investors like what they're finding out about this stock, or it would have retraced. Hanging high after an emotion spike is a very good sign that it's going to eventually convince retail to support this thing higher. So this is giving me confidence enough that instead of just giving up on it, I put it on watch again for next week. Now you're seeing that it's starting to come back up, and you're seeing it'll probably come up to maybe around here, and it might go back down again, and it might go up again while retail is making up its mind what new true value really is on this. And once it makes up its mind, hopefully they're going to say that it's worth more than $3.10, and it's going to fulfill this pattern's desire to go higher. So that's the thought process on that one. I don't like the fact that the volume is falling. I don't like the fact of this gap up, but we're only watching it, and I don't expect any decision in whether this is going to retrace or whether it's going to climb for a week. So the comfort behind the whole thing is the midterm pattern is indicating a longer term psychology of a comeback on this stock and climbing back up to the target of 365. This shorter term pattern is saying retail is in the process of evaluation on what they really feel about the turnaround in this company. Okay. I covered all the charts. I babbled. I don't even know how long. I hope you find some of this stuff interesting. I figured I'd spend the afternoon with you because I didn't want to go cut grass. Let's see if I can stop this video now.